When people think of the ancient world's greatest empires, Rome and Egypt often come to mind. Yet long before them, Cyrus the Great, founder of the Achaemenid Empire, built a vast and stable realm that redefined how power was exercised. He was not only a brilliant conqueror, but a visionary ruler whose ideas of governance, tolerance, and justice were far ahead of his time. His story is more than military expansion. It shows how authority can be strengthened through restraint, how diversity can be governed without destruction, and how true legacy outlives armies and borders. A birth surrounded by fate and fear. Ancient sources describe Cyrus's birth as shadowed by ominous prophecies. According to legend, Median king Astyages dreamed that his grandson would overthrow him. Fearing this prediction, Astyages ordered the infant Cyrus to be killed. The child survived through a series of unlikely events and was raised in secrecy, far from the royal court. Whether myth or embellished history, these stories reveal how early Cyrus became associated with destiny and leadership. Even as a child, he was said to show natural authority, fairness, and courage. One famous tale recounts how he confidently challenged a nobleman's son during a game, refusing to submit to unjust authority. This refusal to accept arbitrary power would later define his rule. Eventually, Cyrus was brought to the Median court, where he received a royal education. There, he learned languages, military discipline, and the art of governance, skills that would soon reshape the ancient world. From regional prince to imperial founder. As a young adult, Cyrus united the Persian tribes and challenged the Median Empire itself. In a dramatic reversal of fortune, he defeated Astyages and absorbed Media into his growing domain. Rather than destroying the conquered kingdom, Cyrus integrated it, preserving its administrative systems and elites. This pattern would define his expansion strategy. Kingdom after kingdom fell, not simply through brute force, but through calculated alliances, psychological insight, and promises of stability. Lydia, one of the wealthiest realms of the time, was defeated after its king, Croesus, underestimated Cyrus's adaptability. Babylon, the jewel of Mesopotamia, fell without major destruction when Cyrus presented himself as a liberator rather than a tyrant. Within a single generation, Cyrus created the largest empire the world had ever seen, stretching from Central Asia to the Eastern Mediterranean. Yet unlike many conquerors, he did not rule through terror alone. Power tempered by mercy. What truly distinguished Cyrus from other ancient rulers was how he treated those he conquered. Instead of mass enslavement or forced cultural erasure, he respected local customs, religions, and traditions. Temples were restored rather than destroyed. Local elites were preserved instead of purged. This approach was not weakness, it was strategy. By allowing people to live according to their own beliefs, Cyrus reduced rebellion and gained loyalty. Subjects paid tribute and acknowledged Persian authority, but they were not stripped of identity. This philosophy was famously recorded in the Cyrus Cylinder, a clay document discovered in Babylon. The text outlines Cyrus's policies of religious freedom, restoration of sanctuaries, and humane governance. Though modern scholars debate labeling it the first human rights charter, its principles were undeniably revolutionary for the ancient world. Religion, law, and cultural unity. Cyrus supported the spiritual traditions of his empire, including early Zoroastrianism, which emphasized truth, justice, and moral responsibility. These values aligned closely with his governing style. Rather than imposing a single religious system, he encouraged coexistence, believing that loyalty grew from respect. Under his patronage, Persian culture flourished. Craftsmen, architects, and artists from across the empire were invited to work together, exchanging techniques and ideas. This cultural blending helped create a shared imperial identity without erasing local uniqueness. Cyrus also understood that law and administration mattered as much as conquest. His empire was divided into provinces governed by local leaders who answered to the central authority. This balance between autonomy and oversight allowed the empire to function efficiently across vast distances. Pasargadae, a capital of ideas. Cyrus founded the city of Pasargadae as his ceremonial capital, and its design reflected his philosophy of rule. Unlike the heavily fortified capitals of other empires, Pasargadae emphasized openness, symmetry, and harmony with nature. Its palaces were surrounded by gardens arranged in geometric order, symbolizing balance and control without oppression. The city was less a military stronghold and more a statement of values. Pasargadae also served as a cultural crossroads. Artisans from different regions worked side by side, contributing to architecture that combined multiple traditions into a distinctly Persian style. The city embodied Cyrus's belief that unity did not require uniformity, and that strength could emerge from cooperation rather than domination. At the heart of Pasargadae stood the tomb of Cyrus the Great, simple, dignified, and deliberately unpretentious. Built from plain stone blocks, the tomb stood in stark contrast to the extravagant monuments favored by many ancient kings. Even in death, Cyrus rejected excess. The monument reflected the man himself, restrained, purposeful, and focused on legacy rather than spectacle. It was a silent message to future rulers about the kind of greatness worth pursuing. A death on the frontier. Despite decades of success, Cyrus was not invincible. In 530 BC, he led a campaign against the Massagetæ, a powerful nomadic confederation in Central Asia that threatened Persia's northeastern borders. These tribes were skilled warriors, accustomed to harsh environments and mobile warfare. What may have seemed like a routine campaign turned into one of the most difficult challenges of Cyrus's career. The conflict proved costly. In a fierce battle, Cyrus was killed, bringing an abrupt end to a reign that had reshaped the ancient world. His death shocked the empire, not only because of the loss of a great general, but because of the loss of a unifying figure whose authority rested as much on moral leadership as on military power. Cyrus's body was returned to Pasargadae for burial, honoring him as both king and founder. His son, Cambyses II, succeeded him and continued the empire's expansion. While later rulers would extend Persian territory even further, none could escape the shadow of Cyrus's example. The systems he created proved resilient enough to survive his passing, a testament to the depth of his vision. Influence beyond his lifetime. Cyrus's reputation did not fade with his death. Instead, it grew. Centuries later, Alexander the Great, himself a legendary conqueror, reportedly visited Cyrus's tomb and ordered it protected. Alexander viewed Cyrus not merely as a rival of history, but as a model of enlightened kingship, proof that conquest and restraint could coexist. Historians continue to examine Cyrus as more than a military figure. He is studied as a political innovator who understood psychology, culture, and governance with remarkable clarity. His empire demonstrated that diversity could be ruled without constant violence, that authority could be legitimized through justice, and that tolerance was not weakness but strategic strength. Few rulers have achieved such widespread respect across cultures, religions, and centuries. Even those who opposed Persian power often acknowledged the fairness of Cyrus's rule. His legacy became a benchmark against which later emperors were measured. Why Cyrus still matters. Cyrus the Great remains relevant because his leadership addressed a timeless problem: how to rule over difference. Instead of enforcing unity through fear, he built it through respect. Instead of relying solely on military dominance, he invested in legitimacy. His empire did not survive for centuries by accident. It endured because people believed they could live under Persian rule without losing who they were. That belief is rare in history, and rarer still among conquerors. In an age when power is often equated with control, Cyrus offers a different lesson. True authority is not measured only by land conquered or enemies defeated, but by the stability, dignity, and prosperity left behind. More than 2,500 years later, the legacy of Cyrus the Great continues to inspire scholars, leaders, and readers around the world, not as a symbol of destruction, but as proof that greatness and humanity do not have to stand in opposition.
If you enjoyed this video and learned something new about Cyrus the Great, hit the like button to support the channel. For more powerful and engaging history content, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for future videos. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and see you next time.